Hello, troopers. It's Cameron from Troop Master Academy. I'm glad you're here. I know I'm glad to be here. It's Monday. We're on the way for the long day of PG music, and also time for the Monday check-in. And here it is. I was watching a Rick Beato video a few days ago. I guess he published it a couple weeks ago. He was one of the ones with Tim Pierce, the guitarist. He was talking about how during his years in the industry, it supported this entire middle class lifestyle for people. And I know that he was talking about a level of the industry where I was lucky enough to spend some time in, working as a production assistant and songwriter in LA off and on. And, he talked about how projects, kind of the basic budget for a project, for a band project, in the 70s, 80s, right up until the mid-ish 90s, maybe even up to 2000, was about $250,000. That was your starting budget. And I know that sounds like a huge sum of money, and it's almost unfathomable today. I have to pinch myself to believe it's true. But I know that when I was thinking of a typical day in the little studio in North Hollywood where I used to work off and on, and a typical day there, you'd have runners in and out, and runners were people who took scripts and tapes and videotapes, audio tapes around. We didn't have any internet back then. We didn't have email. We couldn't transfer files over broadband. The internet wasn't even a thing until the late 90s. So, and this was all the way through the 80s and so on. There were cartage companies, people carried your gear around in the studio back and forth. This whole middle class ecosystem. What Rick didn't talk about was it trickled down to even the local area. I know growing up in the 70s, and we'd have we had our heavy metal band in the garage and all that stuff. And I would read the newspaper, and in the newspaper, back then, the bars, the clubs, the restaurants, the hotels, they would advertise what the live music they had. This was very common, and I'd see, and they would very often publish pictures of the bands. I would look at those, and I was, wow, if I could just do that, that would be it. That would be making it. And we would, as young players, looking for, always seeking knowledge and wanting to play out, we would sneak into the clubs and stuff, and watch the older guys play. They were kind of like our older brothers or something. And those guys usually worked in the music stores, and we'd go in there and try and be friends with them and get them to teach us stuff and try and hang out with them. And then, my third year of college, third year, I think I was 22, I got my first full-time playing gig, six nights a week, Holiday Inn, baby, tuxedo gig. And that was in Bakersfield, California. And this was not uncommon. Everyone was doing it. And I was making a middle class income. All I was doing, my job was playing 6 nights a week, and I made enough money to move out, get our own apartment with my girlfriend. I bought a van, used new to me van, and it supported a middle class lifestyle. And these things were not at all uncommon. So, I know it's hard for inner cats to kind of imagine that. Anyway,